Today I'll be reacting to the best Larry Bird three-point shooting story ever told. So let's go right into the video.
Bird is one of the great shooters in the history of the sport. Not even close. Not good. He was great. He's one of the top 5 three-point shooters of all time. That's how good Bird is. Oh, yes.
We're
won three-point shooting contests. He was phenomenal. Bird's a great shooter.
This is the face of a Larry Bird denier.
Okay, now me, usually with Mad Dog, I usually disagree with a lot of his points, but I agree what he said. Larry Bird is a great shooter, and in my opinion, he is a top 5 three-point shooter in NBA history. I agree. That's probably the first time I agree with Mad Dog. That's probably the first time.
Wait a minute.
Great shooter.
This is the face of a Larry Bird denier. Because one seemingly innocuous comment about how great of a three-point shooter Larry Bird was had him all in his feelings.
Doggy, it's just math. It's attempts, it's makes, and it's percentage. And there's no way you could ever argue Larry Bird is a top 3 three-point shooter of all time. There's plenty of people that have shot more, made more, and guess what? Made more at a higher percentage than Larry Bird from 3. He's not one of the greatest three-point shooters ever.
Now, as someone who
Okay. Now, JJ, he was partially right. Now, JJ Redick, I rock with JJ Redick. I agree with a lot with what he say. Now, Larry Bird having a case for being a top 3 shooter, he wasn't technically wrong with that. In my opinion, the best 3 shooters in NBA history is Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Ray Allen. That's my opinion. That is true. They shot the 3 higher percentage. They even shot more threes than Larry Bird. So he do have a point. But that last point, JJ Redick saying Larry Bird ain't one of the greatest shooters ever, I disagree with that. I reacted to so many Larry Bird videos. I saw highlights of Larry Bird. Larry Bird is definitely one of the top three-point shooters in NBA history.
He's not one of the greatest three-point shooters ever.
Now, as someone who claims to be a student of the game, why in the world would JJ Redick say something so idiotic? In the words of the great Roy Jones Jr., y'all must have forgot. JJ Redick, this video is dedicated to you.
I lived that 80s era, and Larry Bird was one of the greatest three-point shooters that's ever played this game. Percentages. It ain't about that. It's about hitting big shots, things that he couldn't do as a player.
Larry Bird hit more big three-point shots than anyone, even to this day, and he did it in supreme fashion while trash-talking every step of the way.
Okay, Larry Bird is one of the greatest shooters ever. But I'm not gonna sit here and act like JJ wasn't no good shooter though. JJ Redick was nice. JJ Redick was nice. I'm not gonna sit here and act like JJ Redick wasn't nice though. JJ was nice.
Did it in supreme fashion while trash-talking every step of the way.
We're playing Phoenix, and we're way ahead, okay? When we're down in the old Saddle Dome that they had outside.
Right.
And Larry, we're playing good as a team. Larry has the worst fourth quarter known to man. I mean, he's throwing the ball to the other team. I'm like, good Lord, we had like a 15-point lead. Next thing you know, we're down 2. And I'm like, how in the world are we going to lose this game, man?
So we have a play, out-of-bounds play. Larry says, I'm going to bust off the play, and I'm just going to come out, and I'm going to shoot a 3. And I'm like, no, don't do that. I'm like, let's shoot a 2, please. Go to the hole, try to get fouled. Let's just get into overtime, see if we can't win this game.
So, Larry not only tells me that, he walked by the bench and says, typical Bird, he's just real slow, fixing to bust a 3 on your guys and go home. And so he breaks the play.
Max looking, loops it to Bird, a runner. It's good! It's good! And the Celtics win it! Bird hits and the Celtics win it! 103 to 101.
Oh, that's crazy. No, wait. No, he didn't just point at they bench and he dapped, bro. There's no way. No.
Your guys and go home. And so he breaks the play.
Max looking, loops it to Bird, a runner. It's good! It's good! And the Celtics win it! Bird hits and the Celtics win it! 103 to 101. A three-pointer by Larry Bird at the buzzer.
And he gets the ball, jumps out, busts the play, comes out, gets the ball at the slot, shoots the ball. As the ball's in the air, he kind of turns towards the Phoenix bench and yells, "Told you so!" He's off running to the locker room. And I just started laughing. I was like, oh, man.
That was Birdie. And he had the confidence. Man, that dude had so much confidence. He talked to the coaches. He talked to everybody. He was talking trash all the time, man. But fun. Great competitor, man.
That is so disrespectful. That is so disrespectful. You gonna point at the team, trying to dap bro up, but while you point at the team, you told them told you so. That's insane. That's insane.
To everybody. He was talking trash all the time, man. But fun. Great competitor, man.
And what Kevin McHale failed to mention is that Larry Bird had not taken a single three-pointer that entire game.
Hey, JJ, I hope you're listening. Larry Bird was the first player to make the three-point shot a strategic weapon. You weren't out there taking 14 or 15. He liked to use it as a dagger in the fourth quarter. Nobody else used it as strategically as Larry Bird did.
Even Michael Jordan understood that shooting too many threes was not the best way to win.
Here's Jordan for three. Yes! Did you see that look?
When you have that mentality, as I found out in the first game, of making threes, you don't go to the hole as much. You go to the three-point line and you start sitting there waiting for someone to find you. And that's not my mentality. And I don't want to create that because it takes away from all phases of my game. My game is a fake drive to the hole, penetrate, dish off, dunk, or whatever.
But for some reason,
now, I agree with what Michael Jordan said, because I'll say back then, of course, the three-point line it still was getting introduced. Plus, the players then, they didn't grow up with the three-point line. But I will admit with Michael Jordan game, though, that will mess up his game. Michael Jordan, he's such an aggressive player. Sitting behind the three-point line, that's going to hurt his game. So I agree. Plus, he didn't even attempt that many threes anyway. But in today's NBA, though, I think you need a three-point shot. You need a three-point shot. I don't see a lot of people admit this, though. Like, a lot of great players, though, today, though, they still, emphasize the paint in the mid-range area. Well, even great players before players in today's NBA game, like Carmelo Anthony, Kobe Bryant, players in NBA now, like Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Kawhi Leonard, even LeBron, he be in the post, still be in the paint. Like LeBron, he attempts way more threes now than what he did early in his career because he's trying to adapt to the NBA. But the mid-range and the post area still plays an important part in the game, especially when it comes playoff time. And when it's harder to score, you're going to need the mid-range and them points in the paint. Like Stephen Curry, he even developed his game. He's a great finisher at the rim. Yes, Stephen Curry is the greatest shooter ever. We see Steph Curry, he got much better as a driver and taking contact in the paint. I'll say Stephen Curry, he still shoot a lot of threes. How great he shoot, he's going to shoot a lot of threes, especially when he get hot. But I'm saying I still think Stephen Curry know how, the dangers, how dangerous it could be that you can shoot that well and also you still can go to the paint, be aggressive, kick out for other shooters and just create points for yourself and other players on your team. But back then, the three-point shot wasn't emphasis. But I would say now, though, in the NBA, if you can't shoot, you're pretty much useless on the court today, though. You're going to need a jump shot. You're going to need a jump shot. Back then, you probably could be a defensive player, just strictly defense and probably be on the court for a long time. But now in the NBA, even if you are a good defensive player, if you're a liability on the offensive end, you're pretty much useless. If you can't shoot, you better be a great cutter or something or a great offensive rebounder. Because if you can't shoot in today's NBA, you're pretty much done. Pretty much. If you can't shoot threes all over the court, at least shoot corner threes. You got to be useful in the court at least.
The whole penetrate, dish off, dunk, or whatever.
But for some reason, JJ Redick actually thinks basketball is just a math equation. And he couldn't be more wrong. Just because 3 is more than 2 doesn't mean you should jack up a bunch of threes. Larry Bird not only was a great three-point shooter, but he had one of the highest basketball IQs in NBA history. And even he never averaged over 4 three-point attempts per game in any season. But he shot them and made them when they truly mattered. Like in this game, when the Celtics were down by 3 with 7 seconds to go, and then this happened.
Crowd is standing up. It goes now to Bird. Bird goes up top. And a three-point field goal for Bird. 4 seconds left. He hits it. And it's all tied up again. My goodness.
And if you think that one-legged three-point shot was luck, well, explain this. Because in that same game, in overtime, with 2 seconds left, and the Celtics down by 1, this happened.
Danny Ainge to inbounds for the Celtics, trailing by 1, 2 seconds left. In the Bird, he fires. Yes! And the Celtics win! Unbelievable! Larry Bird!
Them one-legged threes, them threes are cold. I'm not even gonna lie. Them threes sweet. that get the ball one leg game time. Them shots nice. I like that. That's actually sweet. But I think using the Houston Rockets, though, for example, in that clip, I think that was a bad example. I don't think that's ever happening again in the NBA. Plus, like, half of them shots he showed in that clip, they was wide open. But I think, did they miss like 28 straight threes? Nah, I'm sorry. Once you get like past 10 missed threes as a team, you gotta start driving. Or you gotta at least try to get to the lane, get a foul, or at least try to shoot some mid-range shots. Because that's one thing about basketball. If your shot is off, you gotta go to the lane, try to get a foul, and try to get free throws. Because once you see the ball go in one time, that could just change your confidence for the whole entire game. Honestly, once you get past like 10 or 15 missed threes as a team, you gotta start driving. You got to. Missing almost 30 threes in a row as a team is nuts, though.
And the Celtics win! Unbelievable! Larry Bird at the buzzer!
There's something to be said for the guy who does it when you have to have it done, as opposed to those guys that can do it for the first 3 quarters. But do you see Steph Curry, can you say he's the best shooter that we've ever seen?
No, I don't know about that. The thing is, anybody can shoot it when it's tied. It's when you're down 1 or down 2. I mean, how many guys make that shot?
But since JJ Redick loves his numbers so much, let's compare prime Larry Bird's three-point numbers with Steph Curry's 2016 unanimous MVP season. Steph Curry shot 45.4% from 3, while Larry Bird shot 42.3% from 3. Now, in a vacuum, using only this number, the unsophisticated analyst might assume that Steph Curry was a better three-point shooter than Larry Bird, but not so fast. How about we compare each player to the three-point shooters of their own era? In 2016, the league average three-point percentage was 35.4%. This means that Steph Curry was 28% better than league average. In 1985, the league average three-point percentage was 28.2%. This means that Larry Bird was 51% better than league average. So, in reality, Larry Bird dominated the three-point line in his era even better than 2016 unanimous MVP Steph Curry.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me say something about that. Larry Bird, a great shooter. Stephen Curry is the greatest shooter ever. Like, Larry Bird, he's a great shooter. I'm not taking nothing away from Larry Bird. I'm not saying he ain't one of the greatest shooters ever. Larry Bird's a great shooter. If you don't think Larry Bird a great shooter, I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong. It's clear as day he's a great shooter. But come on. Everyone know Stephen Curry's the greatest shooter ever. Like, come on. Stephen Curry, catch and shoot off the dribble, the range, the attempts, the percentages. You see that. Come on. This man, Stephen Curry, in his 2016 shot 45% from 3. He probably was shooting around 10 threes a game. That's insane. Like, come on, Larry Bird, great player, but come on, not better than Stephen Curry, though. And honestly, that graph, chart, whatever you want to call it, diagram, it honestly showed how bad shooters was back in the day compared to back in 2016. Like, of course, when the game evolved more, players going to be better, players going to shoot better. Like, probably 20 years from now, to this day, players going to be better and shoot better. It's just the game evolving. But I'm just saying, like a Stephen Curry case, though, he had great shooters before him. Larry Bird, 80s. I'll probably say 90s, probably early 2000s. I guess I'll say like Reggie Miller. 2000, 2010s, you had Ray Allen. Reggie Miller shot more threes than Larry Bird. After Reggie Miller was Ray Allen. Ray Allen shot more threes than Reggie Miller. Then Steph shot more threes than Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, and Larry Bird. Like, it's just the game evolving. So, of course, when the game evolves, you're going to have players shooting more, creating more. Like Steph, like I said, catch and shoot. The range is insane, especially off the dribble with his handle. Come on. Stephen Curry, he's the greatest shooter ever. He's the greatest shooter ever. Now, if you're talking about in the clutch, who's more clutch in them situations, Stephen Curry or Larry Bird? Okay, you got to debate. I will admit, you got to debate. But come on, just a shooter in general. Come on, it's Stephen Curry, y'all. It's Stephen Curry.
Better than 2016 unanimous MVP Steph Curry. But numbers don't make an argument. Their only purpose is to supplement what we already know to be true.
If the three-point shot was what it is today, back in the 80s, Bird would have scored 50 a game. He made every mid-ranger in the world, and he was a 90% free throw shooter. outside of one jumper when he missed the Game 4 jumper against Magic. He had a broken hand. I don't recall ever a big shot in a big game that he ever missed.
So, answer this question. If you need one player to hit one 3-point shot to save your life, who are you taking? Steph Curry, who lost the 3-point shooting contest 5 times to his peers? Or Larry Bird, who won the 3-point shooting contest back to back to back?
Taking equal dollar. Oh, no. Yeah, I'm taking equal dollar, though. Oh, man. No, but dead serious, though. No, but dead serious, though. Come on. Come on, y'all. Come on. Now, Mad Dog, see, that's why I disagree with him again. Larry Bird's not averaging 50. Come on. Come on. Come on. I understand if the 3-point line, how big it is now, well, how big 3-point shooting is now compared to back then, I think Larry Bird probably would average more points. How much he averaged for his career? 24? He probably would average close to 30. Like, he probably averaged 27, 28. Kind of like how LeBron and Kevin Durant doing. Like, for a career, he probably averaged around 27, 28. And plus, this Stephen Curry won a 3-point contest like 2 or 3 times as well. Of course, it wasn't back to back to back by like Larry Bird, but he did win a couple times, though.
Won the 3-point shooting contest back to back to back.
There were pros back then. There were cons back then. But to say anything disparaging about Larry Bird and his perimeter shooting and his 3-point shooting, asinine. Like, JJ, he probably beat you in a 3-point shooting contest today.
And though it sounds like hyperbole, this is what a 60-year-old Larry Bird did at an Indiana Pacers practice.
So the whole team is just stretching, and Larry just walks on the court, grabbed the ball, and started jacking threes like, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Like, I'm looking at everybody. I'm like, do y'all see this right now? And he made like at least 10 in a row threes, like just in a row, and walked off and sat like he ain't do nothing. Like, it was regular, and folded his legs and just sitting there looking at us. I'm like, yo, this guy's nice. I'm like, man, that's a legend right there.
Speaking of shooting threes, Coach, you at the 3-point competition, walking in the locker room, who's playing? Did you really say that? Who's playing for second?
Yeah, I did. I sort of felt bad because Leon Wood never crossed the 3-point line. All he did was he always shot threes. So I thought he might be the competition. When I walked in there, he's sitting there, and I said, okay, now they're down to the nitty-gritty. Who's coming in second? You already know who's going to win this. I think they were a little nervous.
And after Larry Bird hit 11 straight threes in this final round, he decided to hit one off the backboard just for fun.
Oh, wait a second, off the glass.
That chick's had my name on it for a week now, and I knew I was going to win this thing.
And then the walk off with your hand up. I mean, come on, Coach. Come on.
You know, when you're shooting them, you don't know what the score is.
Right.
But I had a feeling by the way the crowd was going, I had to make the last one. And that one there looked perfect all the way. So if it would have bounced out, I would have felt like an idiot.
Well,
but it went in. I got lucky and got the check and went home.
Larry Bird winning the long-distance shootout for the 3rd year in a row.
Now imagine that. Larry Bird, who didn't even see a 3-point line until after he entered the NBA.
Take it in the face, then now watch him shoot it. Unbelievable. You know how far away that is?
Somehow became the greatest, most clutch 3-point shooter of all time. And he did it in the most physical era of basketball.
Oh, yeah, I'm not denying that one bit. Oh, yeah, Larry Bird was a great shooter. Oh, yeah, come on, like, Larry Bird is definitely a top 5 shooter in NBA history. In my opinion, he is, no doubt. And Larry Bird is one of the clutchest players in NBA history. Like, I don't disagree with that, not one bit. He's one of the greatest shooters, and he's clutch. Larry Bird was that guy.
Time, and he did it in the most physical era of basketball. I don't care what JJ Redick says.
Right. When I watch Steph Curry off the ball in a playoff game.
Oh, he's great.
Getting grabbed and held by Marcus Smart. They're attached to him at all times.
Right.
Then when I watch Larry Bird come off a pin down and no one's within 5 feet of him and they're shooting the gap. You're telling me one is more physical than the other? You're telling me that's more physical than Steph Curry being grabbed and held for 48 minutes?
Yeah.
Well, JJ continues to embarrass his university and diminishes the worth of a Duke degree by speaking with such colossal ignorance in public, with such arrogance and authority. It's idiocy that suggests that a no hand-checking finesse league where people are camping out 42 and a half feet from the basket is more physical than the NBA of 30. Oh, my God. Let's talk about 50 or 60 years ago, but even 30 years ago. What does he come up with this? This defies common sense.
And Michael Cooper, who was Larry Bird's toughest defender in the 80s, took J.J. Redick's comments very personally.
You know what? Watch your mouth, man, when you're talking about former players and who can do this and who can do that. Because the game changed in the 80s because it was so physical. In today's NBA, I don't know what game he's looking at. You can't touch the guy. Anytime you touch anybody, a three-point shooter, come close to them when they're landing, it's a foul. To say that Steph is getting more contact, man, that guy has no clue of how basketball was played in the 80s. And I guarantee you this, J.J. Redick, if you had played in the 80s, this is Michael Cooper talking, I'd have locked you up. You wouldn't have got a shot off. You wouldn't have got nothing off. You had spent more time on the bench than on the floor. When I was on the floor, you couldn't have played when I was on the court.
I mean,
Michael Cooper was going crazy. Man, he went off. Now, JJ, yeah, I disagree with that too, though. Players do be physical with Stephen Curry because that's probably the best way to try to, contain Stephen Curry. You got to be physical with him. That's probably the best way to contain him. He probably still get 30 on you, but he probably got to work for every shot. Oh, no, but the game back then is definitely way more physical than today. I agree with that. It's definitely way more physical back in the day than today.
Than on the floor. When I was on the floor, you couldn't have played when I was on the court.
I mean, for J.J. Redick to disrespect an entire generation of basketball players, what did he expect?
First of all, Redick don't know what he's talking about. I'm going to say it, right?
I agree.
He don't know what he's talking about. I'm like, what basketball was you watching? To say something as idiotic as that is ridiculous. And for J.J. Redick, who've played this game, I'm very disappointed that he has said something so stupid. When I hear that, and I'm like, you really don't know, do you? We had our time. It was a great time. It's their time now.
Yes.
But don't crap on us to prove your point.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make sense and it's not valid. I don't hate on these guys.
You're responding right now.
Yeah.
You're not.
I don't hate on these guys. These guys are great. I just don't like the disrespect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to say that about Larry Bird, it's just a stupid comment to make.
Unfortunately, somewhere along the way, common basketball knowledge was lost. But hopefully, these Larry Bird stories enlighten you to why the world fell in love with basketball in the first place.
And this particular play down is a timeout, and they're coming down, and Larry gets me at the top of the key, and he's walking me underneath his basket. He goes, Cooper, I'm ready to wear yours out. What? Okay, I get down to my best defensive stance. He goes down the lane. He comes off the left side, and Robert Parrish sets a pick. And we knew the play. We knew what was coming up. And Kareem was ready, and as Larry comes off the pick, shoulder to shoulder with Parrish, and I'm trailing behind him, he catches the basketball right about the elbow. And he gets the ball, and he goes up, and Kareem stops him from turning the corner. Larry catches the ball, he goes up in the air, and here I come. And I'm like, I'm getting ready to smash this shit, man. So I jump up, and I got my hand, and I don't know how Larry got this ball between Kareem and I, because Kareem had his hands up. I'm coming with my right hand, and he hit a great pass. Like I said, I don't know how he got it to him. Hits Robert Parrish, and Larry looks over his shoulder at me, and he laughs. He said, I told you. And you know what?
But it's also had a telling effect on Michael Cooper underneath the basket. They're wearing him out.
That's what made Larry larger than life, because if anybody in today's game, maybe Steph Curry comes off that, they force that shot up there. They try to get the shot off, but that's the difference between Larry. That play right there softens you up for the next time. Now Kareem's not going to jump out. Now Larry's wide open and shoot the ball. So I would expect former players to really understand that, but I never, ever discount another player at any decade. I hate Larry Bird, but I respect that man. And Larry Bird was one of the greatest three-point shooters that's ever played this game. It ain't about that. It's about hitting big shots.
Yeah, I had to stay silent at the end because Michael Cooper was talking. I had to let him get his rant off. I had to stay silent. I couldn't pause the video. I had to let Michael Cooper go off. But yeah, no, Larry Bird was nice though. Hey, JJ, my guy. I rock with JJ Redick. I am surprised, though, that he said that. I am surprised. Like, studying the game of basketball, I think JJ Redick is up there, especially with his numbers to back it up, too. If you try to get in a debate with JJ Redick about numbers, you're pretty much done. You're done. But I am surprised, like, he said that about Larry Bird, especially him saying he's not one of the greatest shooters ever, and especially, like, the physicality. I am surprised by that. I still rock with JJ. I'm just surprised he said that. But Larry Bird, like, the stories and everything, yeah. Great player, an absolute beast, one of the greatest shooters ever, one of the greatest players ever, probably the greatest trash talker ever. I still think it's him and MJ up top with trash talking, but MJ probably got his trash talking from Larry Bird trash talking to him. Just to go back what Dominique Wilkins was saying, I have like my critiques about eras before. They were great in their era. Of course, the game is going to evolve. That's just how everything is. Football, players going to evolve. Pretty much every sport, players is going to evolve. That's what everything, even with life, stuff is going to evolve as more time passes. So comment down below your thoughts about JJ Redick comments, your thoughts about Larry Bird. Do you think he is a better shooter than Stephen Curry? Do you think Curry a better shooter than him? Do you think Larry Bird top 5 shooter ever? Do you think he's not? So yeah, just drop your thoughts in the comments below. So if you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Also hit that notification bell so you can get all the alerts for every time I post. And I hope everyone have a blessed day. I'm out.